Okay, so today we will continue our discussion further on the concept of an exergy. So we have seen in the previous lecture effect of we have quantified actually our one important term which we call as irreversibility, and then we have seen the importance of second law efficiency. Okay, so in terms of second law efficiency, let me also give you one practical example. So you might have seen, if you purchase the refrigerator and air conditioning units in the market, you find there is some star rating on these. Okay, so some of the refrigerators are 3 stars, some are 4 stars, some are 5 stars. So basically that star rating specifies their energy consumption capacity. So they are producing almost same amount of refrigeration effect, but for producing the same amount of refrigeration effect, how much amount of input energy they require, based on that star rating is defined. So refrigerator or AC unit with the highest star rating will consume less amount of work. So you can relate that basically the highest star machines are having more second law efficiency. Okay. Now let me talk about one important topic, which is exergy change of a closed system. So for example, if we are having a closed system, and if the thermodynamic state of the closed system changes from state 1 to state 2, what will be the exergy change for this particular system? I told all to keep your microphones mute. Mayank. Okay, so let us consider we are having one closed system. So this black boundary over here shows a cylinder, and then we are having some piston over here. And let me consider that initial thermodynamic pressure and temperature are P and T for the system, and surrounding pressure is P naught. Okay, so what we have to do, if we have to determine the exergy associated with this particular thermodynamic state, we have to convert this pressure P to P naught and temperature T to T naught. Okay, so now if we have to convert this pressure to P2, what we have to do? We have to expand the piston. Okay, so upon expanding the piston, volume will be increasing, and that will be decreasing the pressure. So while the piston will be expanding, it will be doing certain amount of work. Okay, and if we are estimating the exergy, we have to only take useful portion of this work during the expansion process. Okay, so we will be getting some useful work over here. And apart from that, what we have to do, the initial temperature of the system is T, and if we have to extract, or if we have to determine the exergy, for determining exergy, what we have to do, finally we have to change the temperature from T to T naught. Okay, so we bring the state of the system to the state of surroundings. So what will be happening now, in order to change the state from T to T naught, I have to do certain amount of heat transfer over here. Okay, so some amount of heat I will be transferring to surroundings. Now if I directly transfer this heat to the surroundings, my process will be becoming irreversible. How irreversible? Because my system temperature is T and surrounding temperature is T naught. So if I just take out this heat outside, what will be happening? My heat transfer process will be actually irreversible. But when we determine the value of exergy, we consider that we have to operate all our processes in reversible manner in order to estimate the amount of exergy associated. Okay, so that's why what we will be doing, whatever this delta Q amount of heat we are transferring, we will not be directly transferring it to surroundings. Rather, we will convert one reversible heat engine. So we are converting one reversible heat engine between the system and surrounding. So when we are connecting this reversible heat engine between the system and surrounding, it is enabling us to transfer the heat in reversible fashion from the system to the surroundings. Okay, so now though we are having the temperature difference between system and surrounding as T to T naught, but we have connected one reversible heat engine. So this reversible heat engine will enable the heat transfer process in a reversible fashion. Okay, and while this heat engine will be operating, at that time it will be doing certain amount of work as delta W heat engine also. Okay, now let me first write the from the first law of thermodynamics, let me first write the energy conservation equation for this piston cylinder system. So if I write the energy conservation equation, you can see delta Q amount of heat is actually going out, and this delta Q amount of heat is going out of the system. So that's why I will be writing it as minus del Q. Okay, then I'll be having minus some delta W work. So this delta W work will be actually reversible work which is going out of the system. So I'll be having minus delta W reversible, and this will be equal to du, where du represents nothing but change in internal energy of the system. So when we are having delta W reversible amount of work due to PdV expansion and delta Q heat transfer, at that time we will be having some change in internal energy of the system, and that change in internal energy of the system we are calling as nothing but equal to du. Okay, now this is one equation. Second equation I can write, so let me write this as equation number 1. Second equation I can write that my delta W, so during this expansion process, this is the total amount of, so this reversible work represents the total amount of work which is done during the expansion of the piston by the system. Okay, but out of this we will be getting only some portion as useful. Why? Because while this piston is expanding, our immediate boundary of the piston or immediate surroundings to the piston is actually compressing at constant pressure condition of P naught into dV. So it will be consuming, so our surroundings will be consuming certain amount of work. Okay, so that's why my useful work will be reversible work minus we will be having P naught into dV. Say piston has displaced through distance through change of volume dV, so we will be having minus P naught into dV. So this is my equation number 2. Then we are having this heat transfer, and while we are doing this delta Q heat transfer, over here we have connected on reversible heat engine. So while we have connected this reversible heat engine, it will be also producing certain amount of work, delta WHE. Okay, so now next I can quantify that amount of work which is done by the heat engine. So if we are operating, if we are saying, because we have to estimate exergy, so if we are estimating the exergy, we have to do all the processes in reversible fashion, because exergy is nothing but represents the maximum potential available for work. So if we are calculating maximum potential, we have to consider the most idealized situation. Okay, so that's why what I will be doing over here, if I consider that my heat engine is operating in the reversible fashion, I can write delta WHE as nothing but efficiency times delta Q, and efficiency I know it is equal to 1 minus T naught by T for a reversible heat engine. Okay, so work done by the heat engine will be efficiency times delta Q over here. So this is my equation number 3. Okay, now if I have to calculate total exergy associated, so total exergy associated will be nothing but total amount of useful work. So what will be the total amount of useful work? Total amount of useful work will be useful work whatever we are having during the expansion of the piston plus useful work which we are having which is done by the heat engine. So that is the total amount of work done which we are having while our state of the system is actually changing. Okay, so now this will be equal to, so let me write this, delta WT will be equal to delta W BU is nothing but delta W reversible minus P naught into dV, and over here this heat engine portion is 1 minus T naught divided by T into delta Q. Okay, now this delta W reversible I can write from this equation number 1. Okay, so what I will be doing now, from equation number 1 I will be substituting the value of delta W reversible. So if you substitute value of delta W reversible, that will be minus delta Q minus du, then minus P naught into dV. Then we are having here, if I multiply this one, so plus del Q minus T naught times del Q by T. Okay, so this is our entire equation. Now you can see del Q and del Q will be cancelling out. Now for this system, while it is displacing through delta V volume, dV volume, and it is doing heat transfer of del Q, at that time I can define the change in entropy of the system ds is equal to del Q by T plus S generation. Now I am saying all the processes are happening in reversible fashion. So S generation will be 0, and this del Q is also heat is going out of the system. So it will be having negative sign. So for this particular system, I can write ds as minus del Q by T. Okay. So say this is my equation number 5 and this is my equation number 4. Now if I substitute the value of del Q by T in my original equation, I will be finally finding that del WT, so total amount of work done, will be equal to minus du minus P naught times dV, and this minus del Q by T I can replace with ds. So minus minus over here will be becoming plus. So I can write plus T naught times ds. Okay. So this is the our total amount of maximum work, maximum useful work, which we will be getting from the system while we are having differential change in its state. Okay, so this is for differential change. So if we are having finite change of pressure from P to P naught and from T to T naught, then what we have to do in order to find out the finite change, we have to do integration. So if I have to calculate W total, so total W will be integral of del WT, and integral of del WT you will be finding as integral of minus du. So integral of minus du will be from initial state was say some state, initial internal energy was say U, and finally once the system is reaching to the dead state corresponding to that, say my internal energy is U naught. So this integration will be from U to U naught. Then second term I have minus integral P naught into dV. So P naught is actually constant over here because it represents the surrounding work and surrounding pressure is not changing, and this volume of the system is changing from volume V to final volume V naught corresponding to the dead state of the system. Okay, and then we have one more term as plus T naught into ds. So I will be writing plus integral T naught into ds, and once again this T naught is constant over here, which is surrounding temperature. So my integration of entropy will be from S to S naught. Okay. So now if I calculate, I will be finding that total amount of useful work done associated when we are operating the system in reversible fashion is minus of U naught minus U minus of P naught into V naught minus V plus T naught into S naught minus S. Okay, and finally I will be getting WT as equal to nothing but U minus U naught plus P naught times V minus V naught minus T naught times S minus S naught. Okay, so over here you can see these two terms are the positive term and this term is actually negative term over here. So this term basically represents the loss over here. Okay, so you can see these are positive, so it means these are contributing towards the exergy, but this term is having negative sign over here, so it means this term is actually taking something out from our total term. Okay, so this is basically the loss term over here, and this term you can see is associated with nothing but entropy change. So entropy basically if we are having change of entropy, that leads to certain loss. So this is the loss term over here. So now this is a particular closed system. So for closed system we generally depict exergy by using symbol phi. So I can call phi as equal to, so phi I can call that phi is nothing but the exergy associated with any given thermodynamic state of the system. Okay, so exergy associated with any given thermodynamic state will be equal to U minus U naught plus P naught times V minus V naught minus T naught times S minus S naught. Okay, so this is the exergy which is associated with a closed system. Okay, so this is one very important formulation. This is the exergy associated with some thermodynamic state for a closed system. Okay, and this system is not having any flow. Okay. Now, if I say I have some thermodynamic state number 1 initially, and then my system is changing to some thermodynamic state number 2. So while system is changing from 1 to 2, what is the change in exergy? So you can see corresponding to state number 1, phi 1, we will be having U1 minus U naught plus P naught times V1 minus V naught minus T naught times S1 minus S naught. And say if my system has changed to some another thermodynamic state 2, so I have to calculate basically the exergy change. So what I will be doing, first I will be calculating value of exergy at state 1, then I will be calculating value of exergy at state 2, which will be equal to U2 minus U naught plus P naught times V2 minus V naught minus T naught times S2 minus S naught. Now, if I have to calculate the change in exergy, that is delta phi between state number 1 and state number 2, so that I can write as phi 1 minus phi 2, and phi 1 minus phi 2 will be equal to, so if you take the minus over here, so that will be U1 minus U2, okay, plus P naught is common, so V1 minus V2, then minus T naught is common, so I can write over here as S1 minus S2. Okay, so this is how we can calculate the exergy change between the two thermodynamic states. Okay, so from here you can see if our surroundings of the system is not changing. Okay, so this is one very important point. If surroundings of the system is not changing while the system is changing its thermodynamic state from state number 1 to 2, during that time I can directly calculate the change in exergy by using this relation U1 minus U2 plus P naught into V1 minus V2 minus T naught into S1 minus S2. Okay, but only condition we are having that surroundings of the system should remain unchanged. Okay, now let me define the exergy change which is associated with the flowing stream. Okay, so what will be happening in case of flowing stream, you know, for example, we are having some pipe. In this pipe we will be having the flow of fluid. Okay, so if we are having flow of fluid, means I can say some parcels of fluids are actually moving. So I can take some elemental volumes of fluids, and these elemental volumes of fluids are actually moving. So while the flow will be happening, say if I take that outside I have pressure of P naught, okay, and a fluid element which is just behind this outside boundary, that is having a pressure of P. Okay, so we know that the flow work which is associated with some flowing stream, that is equal to P into V. So P into V is the specific flow work, actually flow work per unit mass flow rate. Okay, now while this stream is flowing, surrounding pressure will be always acting on this flowing stream. Okay, so whatever the P naught pressure is there, that will be always creating some backward force on this flowing stream. So that's why if we have to calculate the useful amount of work which is associated with this flowing stream, that useful amount of work will be nothing but equal to P minus P naught times V. Okay, so though initially we are having some pressure P, if we measure the pressure P with reference to the absolute vacuum, obviously if we are allowing the flow of that stream to absolute vacuum, then we will not be having any resistance on this flowing stream, and we will be having overall flow work as equal to that of the exergy available or useful amount of the work available. Okay, but when we are allowing the flow of this stream to happen under atmospheric pressure condition, so at each and every time we will be having some ambient pressure which will be acting on the flowing stream, on the fluid element. Okay, so that's why this flowing stream has to do certain amount of work in order to overcome this ambient pressure. So flow work will be equal to P minus P naught times V. Okay, so now we have seen, now if I have to define the exergy associated with the flowing stream, so generally we use symbol psi to define exergy associated with flowing stream. So psi is nothing but exergy associated with flowing stream. So exergy associated with flowing stream will be equal to phi. So phi was no flow exergy, Okay, you have seen phi was nothing but no flow exergy, plus we will be having exergy associated with flow work. So means I have to take utilized portion of the flow work also over here. Okay, so psi I will be getting as phi we know is equal to u minus u naught plus p times v minus v naught, and then we are having minus t naught times s minus s naught. And for flowing stream, just now we have seen that utilized amount of flow work will be equal to p minus p naught times v. So now if I expand this formulation, I will be getting u minus u naught plus PV minus P naught V naught minus T naught times S minus S naught plus PV minus P naught times V. So you can see over here this PV okay, so if you see over here, we are having, I think, some issue of sign somewhere. Let me just check it. Yeah, so I think okay, so we are having u minus u naught plus p times v minus p naught times v naught. Okay, and then over here we are having as plus pv minus p naught times v. Okay, so I have written one term wrong over here. Let me correct it. Let me remove this particular step. So if you see, the exergy associated with no flow is actually P naught times V minus V naught. So here I should have P naught. Okay, and this part I have included for the flow part. So now if I see, it will be psi will be equal to U minus U naught plus P naught times V minus P naught V naught minus T naught times S minus S naught plus P into V minus P naught into V. So now you can see this P naught V will be actually cancelling out. And now what I can do, this P into V term I can add with U. So I can write U plus P times V. Okay, and minus I can take common, and with U naught I can write this term P naught into V naught. So plus P naught into V naught and minus T naught times S minus S naught. So this is how I can calculate the entropy associated with the exergy associated with the flowing stream. So exergy associated with flowing stream will be U plus PV. I can write as H, and this will be H minus H naught minus of T naught times S minus S naught. So this is how we can calculate the exergy associated with the flowing stream. So till the moment with the flowing stream, I have considered that kinetic energy and potential energies are negligible. But in case if we are having the significant magnitude of kinetic and potential energy also, then we can add these two terms also. So if I am adding kinetic energy, it will be half m into v square minus v naught square. Similarly, I will be having plus m g into z minus z naught. Okay, so these two terms represents nothing but the exergy associated with the kinetic energy and the potential energy. And in the flowing stream, we may have inclusion of kinetic energy and potential energy also. So if these terms are negligible, then only we will be taking the enthalpy and entropy into consideration. And if kinetic energy and potential energy is also significant, then we have to consider these two quantities also. Okay. So this is how we can calculate the exergy change associated with the flowing stream. Now let me define few of the important quantities. So few of the important quantities are nothing but what I have done earlier, that only I will be recapitulating over here. So I told you that if we are having exergy which is associated with the no flow system, that is U minus U naught plus P naught times V minus V naught, okay, and minus T naught times S minus S naught. And where we are defining the exergy associated with the flowing stream, that is equal to H minus H naught minus of T naught times S minus S naught. So this is when we are considering kinetic and potential energies as negligible. Okay. And if we consider the kinetic change in kinetic energy and potential energy also, then our psi will be equal to H minus H naught minus of T naught times S minus S naught plus half M into V square minus V naught square. Okay. And also we will be having plus mg into Z minus Z naught. Now, similar to the change of state as we have seen in case of no flow process, similarly, if we do the change of state between the two flowing stream, that also psi1 minus psi2 will be equal to h1 minus h2 minus of T naught times s1 minus s2 plus half m into v1 square minus v2 square, okay, and plus mg into z1 minus z2. So here also we are considering that our surroundings are not changing while the state of the flowing stream is changing from state number 1 to state number 2. Okay. Now let us try to once again give you some idea about exergy association with different quantities. So at the moment, if you see, we have found the association of the exergy with heat transfer. We have found the association of energy with work transfer, and we have also found the association of energy with exergy with mass transfer. Okay. So like in case of energy, I told you earlier that when we are having transfer of heat, we will be having some transfer of energy. Work also causes transfer of energy, mass also causes transfer of energy. And while we were studying the concept of entropy, at that time we have found that work does not change the entropy of the system. So entropy is always associated with only two kinds of interactions, that is heat and mass interactions. Okay. But similar to energy, if we talk about exergy change takes place with heat as well as work and as well as mass. Okay. So just to give you idea what happens to exergy when we are having some heat transfer, you can consider over here we are having one wall, and on the left side of the wall we are having medium 1, and on the right side of the wall we are having some another medium. So on the left side we have temperature T1, and right side we have some temperature T2, and this T2 is actually less in comparison to T1. So now you can see that, say we are having steady state heat transfer condition. It means wall is not consuming any energy. So in that case, what will be happening? Whatever the heat is flowing from the left, that will be going to right. So let's say we are having Q as flow of heat from left to right. So while we are having this flow of heat, you can see on the left hand side, we were having value of entropy change if we are considering that heat transfer is happening in reversible manner. So you can see on the left side medium, we are having entropy change as equal to Q by T1. And in the right side, we will be having entropy as Q by T2. Okay. So now you can see over here, we are having actually transfer of heat Q through finite temperature difference, because medium 1 is having temperature T and medium 2 is having temperature T2, which is less than T1, and we are having finite temperature difference between the two. So when we are having finite temperature difference between the two, you will be finding out that the magnitude Q by T2, this magnitude Q by T2 will be greater in comparison to Q by T1. So that's why you will be finding that in this heat transfer process, we are having certain amount of entropy generation. So if we are having certain amount of entropy generation, obviously during this heat transfer process, we will be having some exergy destruction. So you can see if we have to utilize the exergy associated with heat transfer, so what we have to do, we have to connect some reversible heat engine, because reversible heat engine will only enable the transfer of heat in reversible manner between the finite temperature differences. Okay. So that's why let us consider that if T0 is our surrounding, so if we first connect some heat engine with my first medium, then in case of first medium, what amount of useful work I will be getting, that will be equal to 1 minus T0 by T times Q. Okay. And if I connect now the heat engine for same amount of heat transfer with low temperature medium T2, I will be finding 1 minus T0 by T2 times Q as my amount of work done, useful amount of work or maximum amount of reversible work done by the heat engine. Okay, so basically you can see this ratio of T0 by T2 is actually larger in comparison to the ratio of T0 by T1. So that's why what will be happening over here, we will be having more amount of exergy, and in the medium 2 we will be having less amount of exergy. Okay, so it means when we are having some process which is happening, if that process is having certain amount of irreversibility associated, that will lead to the destruction of the exergy. So exergy destroyed will be nothing but the difference of these two values over here. Okay, so generally with heat transfer, I can say that with my heat transfer delta Q, if I have to calculate that how much exergy is associated, say if this heat transfer is happening from a system at some state T, so exergy associated with that is nothing but equal to 1 minus T0 by T times delta Q. Okay, so this is how we can estimate the exergy associated with the heat transfer. And always we have to remember that exergy is the quantity which is actually estimated based on, exergy is a quantity which is estimated based on maximum potential of work while system is operating in the reversible fashion. Okay, so if we are having some heat transfer which is happening between finite temperature difference, every time what we have to do, we have to couple that system which is transferring the heat to our surrounding by using one reversible heat engine. And if we are connecting a reversible heat engine, exergy associated with that heat transfer process will be equal to 1 minus T0 by T times del Q. Okay, so similar to heat transfer, when we are having transfer of work, with transfer of work also we are having exchange of exergy. So exergy associated with work transfer, we have seen when our boundary of the system is changing, then useful amount of work represents our exergy, and that useful amount of work is equal to reversible work minus surrounding work. Okay, and generally we see that our surrounding pressure is constant, so that's why we define that delta W reversible minus P0 into dV is our surrounding work. So this is the useful amount of work which we calculate when we are having exergy associated with the work transfer. But this is applicable only for system with flexible boundary. Okay, so this is for a system which is having flexible boundary. And if we are having a system of fixed boundary, like in case of your turbine, so turbine is a system whose boundary is not changing. Okay, so for a system of fixed boundary, our exergy associated with work transfer will be equal to nothing but total amount of reversible work. So for fixed boundary system, we are not having any surrounding P0 into dV work. So that's why exergy associated with fixed boundary system is equal to the net amount of reversible work what we are getting from the system. Okay, then we are having third exergy associated with mass transfer. So when we are having the transfer of mass, obviously transfer of mass will be associated with some flowing stream. We will be having some flowing fluid which will be moving from across the boundary of the system, and that will be actually causing our transfer. So we know that we are having say m dot as mass flow rate, and we know already that psi represents the exergy associated with the, so if I define psi as specific exergy, if I define psi as specific exergy associated with flowing stream, okay, so this is specific exergy with flowing stream. In that case, if we are having say some system, and into this system say mass is being added at the rate of m dot, so I will be finding that exergy of this system will be nothing but equal to exergy associated with this inflow stream will be equal to m dot into psi. Okay, and if mass is going out, then obviously that exergy will be in the negative form. Okay, now next we are having a decrease of exergy principle. So like increase of energy principle, we are having one more principle which we call as decrease of exergy principle. So for defining this, let me consider one isolated system. So what I am having, I have some isolated system. So if I have isolated system, it means we are not having any heat and work interactions. So heat and work interactions are not here. Okay, and then what I am considering, that say this isolated system is changing thermodynamic state from state number 1 to state number 2. Okay, so for this isolated system, what I can do, I can write down the law of conservation of energy as del Q minus del W equal to du. Now, as I told that I am not having any heat and work interaction because system is isolated. So that's why left hand side will be 0. So I can write 0 is equal to, and state of the system is changing from 1 to 2. So change in internal energy will be U2 minus U1. Okay, so this is, say, my equation number 1. Now, for this same isolated system, if I write down the entropy equation, so we know entropy equation ds is equal to integral del Q by T plus S generation. Okay, so ds, because system is changing state from 2 to 1, so ds I can write S2 minus S1, and for isolated system dq is 0. So this is 0 plus, let me write, some entropy generation is happening while system is changing state from 1 to 2 as S generation. Okay, now what I will do, I will multiply to this equation by T naught, and this S generation I will bring to the left hand side. So T naught times S generation will be equal to T naught times S2 minus S1. So just I have brought this S generation to left hand side and I have multiplied the equation with T naught. So let me consider this as my equation number 2. Okay, so if I consider this as my equation number 2, if I do 1 minus 2, so what will be my 1 minus 2? 1 minus 2 will be U0 minus U1 times U2 minus U1 minus of okay, let me do subtraction with the left hand side first. So left hand side we are having 0 in equation 1. So 0 minus T naught times S generation will be equal to, in the right hand side we are having U2 minus U1. Okay, in the right hand side we have U2 minus U1 minus of T naught into S2 minus S1. So we know that for a closed system, exergy change is phi2 minus phi1 is equal to U2 minus U1 plus P naught times V2 minus V1 minus T naught times S2 minus S1. So if I consider this isolated system of fixed boundary, if my system is fixed boundary, then what will be happening? Then this whole quantity will be equal to 0. So for fixed boundary system, phi2 minus phi1 will be equal to U2 minus U1 minus of T naught times S2 minus S1. So this quantity on the right hand side of this equation I can call as phi2 minus phi1, which will be the change in exergy content of this isolated system. So change in exergy content of this isolated system is nothing but equal to minus T naught times S generation. So now if you see, T naught is my temperature in Kelvin. T naught is always greater than equal to 0. Okay, because on absolute scale value of T naught is 0 at reference point, and it is always positive for all other conditions. And S generation is also a quantity which is always greater than equal to 0. So in that case, what will be happening? This right hand side will always be less than equal to 0. So it means while some system changes its thermodynamic state from state number 1 to state number 2, we will be having change in exergy of the system as either equal to 0 or less than 0. So if my process is reversible, then delta phi will be equal to 0, and if process is irreversible, then delta phi will be equal to negative. So it means while some thermodynamic process happens from state number 1 to state number 2 in a system, so either we will be having change of exergy equal to 0 or we will be having change of exergy as less than 0. So it means every time while some process happens, we are having decrease of exergy value. Okay, so now I will stop at this point and we will have further discussion in our next lecture.